Hi and welcome to my pick a card reading for May 21, and this time you can choose between Yoda, the great Jedi Master, you can choose Buddha, and you can choose also the crystal egg. And I would say we start with Yoda. And in this group the theme is very similar to the theme of Beltane. It is coming back to your own rhythm and letting go of everything that is not in your very sacred, personal, individual rhythm. And in your very personal, sacred rhythm, there is ecstasy. In your own rhythm, you will find the ecstasy for life, the joy for life again. You will find the lust for life again. You maybe felt exhausted in the past because there is something that you held on to, or that was just not yours, and that with Perchta you have to let go. And that we often think of letting go as a traumatic or very sad moment, but in this case I would say letting go can also be a very joyful thing. And I would say that because in the past there was something you were obsessed with that was actually not good for you, that came out of your shadow. You thought, I need to be with that person, I need to have this or that, but it was out of your wounded self, out of the self that doesn't feel seen. Ereshkigal to me is connected to Lilith, the asteroid Lilith, and she's very, very powerful. And it is important that there is the dark goddess that remind us of all the things we are ashamed of, that we don't want to see. And sometimes our obsessiveness with people or with things remind us to come back, to confront our shadow, to let go of the shame. This experience or this relationship or this circumstances were very, very challenging, maybe because you were almost like an addict, or because someone else was obsessed with you and was stalking you. This is not visible from the cards, but there was something around the theme of obsession, of a passion that was nurtured by your shadow. And everything that is nurtured by your shadow needs to be transformed. It doesn't necessarily mean to be negative, but in most cases it means there is something that needs to be transformed, that needs to be changed. Where Lilith is, she always reminds us of things where we have to take our power back to us. And when we are too obsessed with something, or when we are too addictive, we give our powers completely away. We are controlled by our passion. And something, as I said, was very challenging around that theme in the past. And the theme is really around letting go something very negative, something very obsessive. You let go of something dark and you take your power back to you, and it can be a very joyful thing. So I would say that May will be a very joyful month where you are able to let go. And in this letting go, you set yourself free, and you also allow your joy to emerge. And this is confirmed by the cards that I pulled for the developments that are awaiting you. And there is Beltane, there is Purifying Garden, and there is Venus. And this is beautiful because that says, in what you truly love, in what your soul desires, there is purification. Desire is not always bad or not always of low frequency. What is meant by low frequency, what I said before, that if it is nourished by your wound, if it is your wound that is crying to be heard, out of the cry of the wounded child that wasn't held, we will never find peace. We in most cases we will re-traumatize ourselves. But if we set ourselves free from that, then we can feel into the joy that is really there inside of us, because Taurus is a symbol for the fact that we are on this earth to enjoy life, to enjoy the pleasures of life, and that your soul had a reason to come here, and that it is not only the reason to grow, but to be part of this dance of creation and to be part of the joy of pleasures of life. And that joy is one of the most powerful healing tools that we have. Joy is one of the best medicines that we have, and the best medicines we carry inside. And I would say May will bring a lot of joy back to you. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I wish you indeed a very, very joyful month. Till next time, namaste. I would say in this group, May is around finding out what you really want and change your direction on your path. Whether it is in little things, or whether there are big changes coming, or whether there are big course corrections. I cannot see that, but you thought that you were on a way, and you actually tricked yourself into believing that, or you were tricked into that. I cannot see that clearly, but the trickster card is connected to Cyrano de Bergerac, which is a very famous figure in a play, and he thinks that he is so ugly that he cannot be loved by the woman he loves. So he writes poems in the name of someone else, and there is a whole very tragic story around that. But it is the tragedy of if you don't dare to be yourself. So the cards invite you to be yourself again. It is interesting because in the last group it was a similar theme, this kind of, you find joy again if you allow to let go of everything that you are not. And I would say here you thought you were on a path that was yours, and in May you might realize, well, there are parts of it that are not mine, or I have to correct parts of it, or maybe I have to really make a huge shift. But there is something you need to change because you try to believe something that is not true, or someone else tried to manipulate you into something that he or she wanted you to believe. So that I cannot see, but I would say you were prone to be tricked because in the past you were sad. Something sad happened, something where you lost someone, or where you realized things are not the way as they were. I have to leave a certain condition, I have to leave a certain relationship, I have to leave certain circumstances in my life. And because this was a very insecure time, you were prone to be tricked by someone else, or you were prone to tell yourself fairy tales, but these fairy tales are not true, and it might be just little details, or it might be the whole path that needs a course correction. And I would say that May will not be the month where it will come totally clear, or there will be definitive answers, because with Neptune and with Nightmare and with the future, you are still a little bit too afraid to find out. You still are more in the process of not being controlled by your fears. Because, as I said, there was something in the past that hurt you, and because you were hurt, you had a tendency to not be truthful to you, or that someone else, as I said, was not truthful to you. And you will still have to deal with what is true. And you feel confused, you still don't know where your future is going. But I would say the cards say you might be confused because you are afraid. To find the way back where you want to be, try to trust that you are guided And I mean, sometimes Neptune is about confusion, but I would say in this case it is about try to trust the invisible world. Try to trust that the invisible world will guide you, that your soul will guide you back to where you need to be, where you actually want to be, but you don't are clear because you are maybe too afraid or maybe you got lost, you lost yourself along the way. There was something that made you feel lost, and I would say May is a month where the cards would advise you trust your inner guidance, even if it is not becoming totally clear where it is going. Trust that you are guided to the place where you need to be. I would say it is a month of course correction, and it is a month of trusting your inner guidance again. Maybe it is not a coincidence that you are the Buddha group, because there is a reminder from Spirit that you are always connected, always. So I hope this was helpful. I wish you a wonderful and blessed and beautiful May. Till next time, namaste. So the last group is the group of the crystal egg. And it is funny, in this group I would say you actually found your connection to your heart in the recent past. You found your connection to your true path, where you want to go. And it is already starting to materialize, but you are angry, and I feel that it is not materializing maybe as fast as you wish, or maybe as you thought that it was going. And it takes, with walking the talk, it takes more discipline from you that you might have dreamt of. It takes more responsibility of you. It is saying, okay, so if you are what you felt you are, and what is, I would say, is very true, this vision that you had in the recent past, or what came to you in the recent past, is true. It is guided and blessed by Spirit. That doesn't mean that it is always easy, and I feel there is a rage around that. There is something that makes you angry with Turandot. Maybe you also wish to feel more acknowledgement, because Turandot is connected to Aries, and Aries is the goddess of discord, because she was not invited to the party. She doesn't feel seen and she doesn't feel heard. So there is something where you feel, I thought that maybe because I was so connected to Spirit, I thought I would get more acknowledgement from life, that maybe, I over-exaggerate now, maybe life would applaud me for that right now and say, wow, what a great accomplishment, and that it's actually not, that it's actually hard work, and that there might be obstacles and everything, and that there is a resentment. If you need to speak out, but I would say don't be angry about other people. Try to remind yourself of the most important thing is that you see yourself, not that the others see yourself. That is an extra bonus if others see who you are and celebrate who you are. But you need to celebrate yourself first, and to celebrate the connection that you were able to have in the recent past, and that you are still holding. Something in you really came home to yourself, and that is worth a huge celebration. Maybe no one acknowledges this, but you have to. You have to put yourself on your own throne and say, I'm so grateful that I'm finally reconnected to myself again, and this is a moment to celebrate. And the development in May might also mean that this will change your relationships. Maybe some relationships will go, or what could also happen is that some restrictions might die around the field of relationship. Maybe because you are more deeply connected to your core, you allow others to connect to your core as well. So I would say May might actually be a really beautiful month for you. It might set you free of old boundaries, how relationship used to be. But as I said, it is very, very important, and the advice of the cards is this best development is possible if you don't expect others to do what you need to do for you. If you be honest with yourself and say, my wound is that I sometimes don't feel seen, that I sometimes don't feel heard. It doesn't have to do with others in the first place. In the first place, it has to do with myself. And that if I see myself, I will recognize those who truly see me. And I might have let go of those that do not want to see me or never were able to see who I'm truly, because they are more connected to the past, what I no longer am, and this is okay. But with Ostara, there is a new beginning for you. There is a new beginning, and in this case, I would say there is a new beginning around relationships, and it might look scary because with Saturn and Samhain, there is something dying, and things that are dying are always scary for us. And we will see in the new moon video that I can link it up here. This new moon videos will show you that the new moon is connected to Uranus, and Uranus is always expect the unexpected. Something breaks for you, but I would say in this case it breaks something open, it sets you free, and it brings in new forms of relationships, new forms to relate to yourself and new forms to relate to others. And it might also be a symbol for your creativity, that you put boundaries around your creative forces. Whether it was, I can only have one child on a very physical level, or I can only be this or that. Maybe you are a lot more than you thought if you allow your creativity to be free. I want to share my sacredness with the world, and this is a very sacred contract, and this sacred contract will change your relationships, and it will be a new beginning. It will be a new beginning, and as you can see, it is also with Ostara a very sexual card. Ostara is connected to the spring equinox, and the spring equinox is a moment of change. So May will be a month of change for you. Maybe it is just in small things, or maybe it is actually a new era for you. This is what I can't see, but it brings very concrete changes, and these changes are a celebration of life. So I hope this was helpful for you, and I wish you a wonderful and blessed May. Till next time, namaste.